Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and we are pleased to be joined by the one, the only, Brad Perez. How's that going, man?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing good. Just got off of work, so I'm still in my work clothes. But glad to be here.
Yeah, you got a busy night tonight. You got to get prepared for your big appearance on the one, the only Racing Spaces, which will be about an hour and a half as of time of recording. So. Yeah. But you're going to go down and test an ARCA car. I know that through your good friend and my good friend, Josh Williams, you were able to compete in your first ARCA race at Watkins Glen last year. What was that experience like to get behind the wheel of a car?
It is a dream come true, honestly. I love Watkins Glen. I've always watched so many races over there, Busch races, K&N East races, and Cup races, and being able to even just have the chance to compete was really cool. I mean, obviously we had issues and it prevented us from finishing, but honestly that day definitely kind of opened my eyes to what could be possible, and definitely kind of propelled my mental state a little further to think, maybe, this could happen. So also everyone else's support that kind of blew me away, because, for me, it's just like, I really just want to drive a car. And then everyone else is like, we want to see it too. And I'm like, oh, I did not know that this was that serious. But thanks anyway. So yeah, that was cool.
What the NASCAR community does is they latch on to somebody and they're like, yeah, they want you. Yes, that is exactly what it is. It's basically to see you in a car. I don't know how many people were excited about this last year, but this year you get to test in the annual ARCA Test for Big Willie Mullins.
Yeah.
How about that? What was how did this opportunity come together?
So super crazy. So after the whole Watkins Glen deal, I honestly was trying to see, like, okay, what's next? But I didn't have approval for any of the other big tracks, and even short tracks. I really have not really any short track experience, which I'm trying to work on this year. But I figured the best opportunity to possibly further my ARCA career, or just stock car career in general, is be able to put myself out there to be sponsored for anything. And a big part of that was running the ARCA Test to get that approval. So I shopped around, talked to a couple people that I'm close with, and they were like, oh, just put some feelers out there. And I was like, okay. And my very, very good friend, Daylen Barr, hit me up one day, and he was like, hey, are you still interested in running the ARCA Test? And I'm like, yeah. And he basically said, well, I'm going to talk to Dinah and Willie Mullins, and they're obviously going to go to the test, have their people go, and they usually rent out rides for a lot of people to share a car. And if I can get a deal going, maybe you could go to the ARCA Test. And I was like, awesome. Thanks. Let's see what happens. And graciously enough, Willie and Dinah agreed. So I'll be part of a group of really cool up-and-coming drivers that are getting to get their first laps at the racetrack. This opened doors, at least for also that I can work with Mullins Racing whenever they race their 5 or so races through the year. So it'd be really cool. So I get more work, and I also have a really cool opportunity. So I really got to thank the Mullins, because it was kind of like a trade agreement, like between Daylen and Willie and Dinah, and they didn't have to say yes. They could have said absolutely not, no, but they did. So I'm really grateful for that. Grateful for Daylen and this whole thing.
Of course, for people that do not know, Daylen Barr is a photographer, a well-known photographer in NASCAR. Of course, another popular figure on Twitter in the NASCAR world. So yeah. So let's okay, for people that don't know who you are, kind of explain what you do in the sport.
Ooh, that gets tougher and tougher every time I have to explain.
Well, do at least do the best you can, man.
Yeah, okay, I'll try. First off, I've been a racing fan for so long, but I finally got my opportunity to be a crew member doing internships. So I interned with Rick Ware Racing and JD Motorsports through like the 2017, 2018 times. Yep. I got hired as a tire specialist, which is probably the lowest tier but yet such an important job that I didn't realize I was getting myself into when I first started. Moved to South Carolina, or moved to North Carolina to work at JD Motorsports from 2019 onward. Ended up jumping different teams, worked for Martin's Motorsports, currently Rackley Willie Allen Racing as a tire specialist. Really awesome work. On top of that, I don't work at the shop anymore. So now I work at the BMW Performance Center, where I'm a driving instructor because my background is in road racing. So I've road raced a lot, and at Homestead Miami Speedway, was able to cut my teeth there and really understand all that stuff. So graciously enough, I'm working at a really awesome place where I get to give cool people rides and learn and have some fun every day. And on top of that, I also do video content for a couple people, Joe Graff's marketing agency, FGR Excel. I do some work for them, work with a lot of cool people, Chris Thompson, and get to do a lot of cool media related things as well. I did for Space Station Gaming, Will Rogers helped them out with a lot of content. So I'll try to do a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to accomplish down in this ARCA test down there?
So, I guess honestly, the serious goal is get approved. So getting approved, it should not be difficult. Obviously, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, listening to my spotter, Kevin Belmont, and not being a moron, I should be able to get approved. And the secondary accomplishment that I would like to accomplish is understand more about the draft and understand how the cars react in certain situations. I have never gone 190 miles an hour in my life. So I will get to experience that for the first time and see what that feels like, and what occurs. Of try to pick brains of a couple of drivers that I'm friends with, just because you never know what you don't know. Like it looks easy, but you're like, okay, what is there something I should know that I probably don't know? So learn a little bit, get approved, and obviously put smiles on faces. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. This interview is going to be great. Talking about this, I know you're friends with a lot of drivers in the paddock, like Mike Snyder and Ryan Vargas, Perlita, are roommates. So talk about I know you're friends with a lot of drivers. Like, what's that like to interact with other NASCAR drivers? Because I know a lot of my friends are drivers as well. So just from being in the sport for so long. But what's it like to become friends with drivers and all that stuff?
Honestly, it's just, how do I explain it? It's kind of like, it feels like the NASCAR garage is kind of like high school. Like that could be a bad thing, but it's like, it's also kind of a good thing, because you're all different people. Like we all come from different walks of life. We have different backgrounds, different upbringings. And we come together, and we're just there. We're the crew guys, we're here to work, and the drivers are there to accomplish their dreams. So a lot of people have different motives, and it's cool to kind of bump heads, and you find yourself rooting for a lot of drivers who you didn't really expect to root for, just as friends, just because random stuff. Like I became really good friends with Ryan Ellis, and he's a really awesome dude, and I honestly never expected to be friends with him. Like I remember 5 or 6 years ago, I was watching him race on TV, like, okay, look, it's Ryan Ellis. And now it's like I don't even know how it happened. I guess it's just like in passing in the garage, where if he comes off track and he finishes like top 15, like hell, I'll be in the middle of like wheeling my tires over, and I'm like, good job, man, like awesome. And you find that camaraderie around with a lot of crew members on teams and a lot of drivers, even more so. I think even the crew members were, like last year, when Brandon Built got their first win, a lot of those guys, like I was really good friends with. So even all the tire guys and, pit crew members, I'm like, oh my God, like, heck yeah, like you guys are awesome. And it's, and I, they share that same sentiment back, like whenever you do well. And it's a really just fun loving atmosphere. And that's honestly why I still love coming to the track, because you get that type of camaraderie.
Yeah, me too. Similar things. But yeah, what did you ever think that you would be in a car? I asked this question on, I think, somebody today, at Daytona of all places. Now you've been to Daytona so many places and so many times. but now you get to go on there and actually go on the racetrack. That's gotta be something.
Yeah. So when I first started my racing career, I race a lot of Spec Miata, and one of the tracks in our region in Central Florida, SCCA, is Daytona. So I've gotten to race the 24-hour course quite a couple times, but albeit, of course, I'm in a Miata, so we're going probably no faster than 120 miles an hour, and just getting able to do that was an absolute dream come true. So even just like going through the tunnel as a crew guy, you still get those chills where it's like, oh my God, like, we're at Daytona, everyone has a chance to win. And I really did not ever think I would be in a stock car being able to rip the high banks. And it's definitely one where I got to knock over 10-year-old Brad and be like, guess what? You're doing that. Like, that's the thing that's going to happen. So yeah, I still it hasn't like sunk in yet. It probably will sink in the moment I drive up to the track. But super excited either way.
Yeah. And, as probably I speak for everybody in the NASCAR community, I think we're all excited to see you out there and see you at Daytona, because I know how big this is for you, and hopefully you get your license approved, and then we can see you out there more times on the racetrack there. Brad Perez, as some people like to call you. But anyway, Brad, thank you so much for coming on and taking some time to talk with us. Good luck in the ARCA Test at Daytona, and I think you're going to enjoy it.
Dude, thank you, Casey, for having me on. Really excited, and hopefully we can put together a race. That'd be super fun.
Oh yeah.